So, famine, starvation, war. These are just some of the findings from this report. This is a report by the Joint Intelligence Organization, supposed to be released back in October of 2025, but was actually only partially released this year thanks to a Freedom of Information request by Ruth Chambers at Green Alliance. I say partially because what we have as the public is actually a 14-page document, which is a much shorter version of a much longer report that actually, as the public, we're not allowed to see. The report goes on to identify 6 key ecosystems that the UK relies on and is in danger of collapse. 2 of these, the Southeast Asia coral reefs and mangroves, are considered high risk for collapse by 2030. What are some of the consequences of ecosystem collapse that we can already see starting to unfold around us? One of the most shocking statistics that actually come out of the report, one that, you almost can't believe your eyes as you're reading it, is the fact that the average size of monitored wildlife populations declined by 73% between 1970 and 2020. The rate of extinction is tens to hundreds of times higher than the average over the past 10 million years. It suggests that a 6th mass extinction may be underway. That is a direct quote. A 6th mass extinction may be underway. If you've been watching, or if you ever watched Gary's Economics, this is something that he's been talking about for years. As the wealth of the 1% balloons, they continue to buy up assets. And so what we're going to see is a collapsing middle class, and the impoverishment of everyone that doesn't sit within the 1%. The UK is also not currently food secure. We import 60% of our food from overseas. And so, this is bad. It's beyond bad. It's terrifying. But what's really scary is what happens when shit really hits the fan and millions of people are forced to actually migrate because the areas that they inhabit, usually in the global south, are no longer able to sustain them, and we're already seeing that. We're going to see millions of migrants coming across towards Europe and towards the UK because they're not going to be able to feed their families. We're going to see a UK government that's totally ill-equipped and unable to meet the moment. They're not going to be able to provide any kind of plan or organisation or strategy for what we should do going forward. If they had, they'd be presenting it to us already. And so we're going to see the collapse of the UK government, and in its place we're going to start to see the rise of organised crime. And as we see organised crime rise, we're going to see a fight for resources. We're going to see human trafficking, slavery and prostitution become a new normal. And the re-emergence of the law of the jungle, something that would have seemed unimaginable, even 10 years ago, that's going to start to re-emerge. I mean, Donald Trump has already started to assert that law of the jungle mentality in his dealings with other countries, whether it's Venezuela or whether it's Iran, and we're going to see that proliferate as total societal collapse starts to happen. I think it's also really important to understand that we're being told lies about what the future of AI will look like by people who have a vested interest in its success, like Elon Musk. Elon Musk sat down with a complicit economist journalist recently, and he said this: "The most likely outcome is an age of amazing abundance where anyone can have anything they can think of. This may sound preposterous. Here we are in 2026. Let's see where we stand in 2036. Now, of course, there are things that could derail this, like a massive global nuclear war." Andy Burnham, the new UK Prime Minister, has declared that he wants to put AI at the centre of UK growth. There are contracts for over 100 data centres now all across the UK. These are heavily water and energy intensive, and they've been designated as critical infrastructure, which means that we're starting to see central government actually overriding local communities who are trying to fight these data centres, who are saying that they don't want them, whether it's because of the environmental impact, i.e. the amount of water use and energy use and electricity, whether it's the noise pollution that we're seeing, or whether it's the fact that actually the myths around the number of jobs that are going to be created are just that, they're total myths. You know, the average data center is providing somewhere between 20 and 30 jobs, and very often these are jobs which actually cease to exist beyond the point that the data center has been built. So we're being told lies about the number of jobs that are going to be created, and very often, these data centers, it's very hard to verify what they're actually being used for. We've got a data center now that's been given the green light at the Truman Brewery. We know that that data center is basically for high frequency trading. What benefit is that to the local community in any conceivable way? The UK government is in the pockets of big tech. Big tech are dictating the state of play. The public have not been consulted about any of this, and it's now a time where we actually have to stand up and we have to say no, and we have to actually start to talk about, a moratorium on all of these data centres. We don't want any more data centres being built in the UK. That's for starters. We want a citizens' assembly so that people can actually discuss all across the UK how they feel about AI, who gets to control it, how it's used. AI is part of a much broader and wider neoliberal project. In many ways, it's the culmination of a project which has lasted now, over 40 years. And that project is one of control and surveillance. We'll put a link to the report in the description. Please visit our website and please like, share and subscribe.